Welcome back to another video, and in this one we're going over the newest patch notes coming to SMITE, patch 5.14, Goddess of Volcanoes, and obviously we have the newest goddess, Pele. Pretty self-explanatory. I was reading, I was like, what kind of cool title is she gonna get? No, just goddesses. Goddesses? I guess that'd just be the Goddess of Volcanoes. Pretty self-explanatory. All of her kit revolves around fire, but her kit is so unique. I don't think there's an ability that we've really seen in SMITE. The abilities aren't crazy like Izanami's boomerang basics. Like, they're not like groundbreaking, but it's different, and I love it. So we're gonna go ahead and get into it. Before we start, I'm like 97% sure she's an assassin. It doesn't say here, and I didn't actually watch the patch notes. But from the lore video I've seen and from reading her abilities and seeing how she works, it's impossible for her to be anything other than an assassin. So we're going to say she's an assassin. Her passive, there's kind of two parts to it. It's called Everlasting Flame. When Pele drops below 50% health, so you get below 50% health, you're going to gain increased physical power, lifesteal, and ability lifesteal. But it does have a 20-second cooldown. So that means, let's say you drop below 50% health, your passive activates, you go up to 60% health, and then you drop below 50% health again. That passive will not reset until another 20 seconds has gone by. You get power 5 plus 2 per level, so you can get 45 additional power at level 20, which is pretty good. Your passive basically being an extra item for you. 40% lifesteal and 20% ability lifesteal, so that's great, and then it does last 6 seconds. Her first ability is called Pyroclast, and this is going to be her lane clear if you are going to be clearing a lane as an assassin. She flourishes and fires out a magma orb ahead of her in a line. Once the projectile reaches maximum distance, it hovers, and then it comes back to her in different pieces. Similar, kind of similar to old Ratataskar's not Acorn Blast, his 2, where the acorns would fire out and then come back to him. Similar to that in a sense, but it's still completely different. So you throw out this big ball of fire, it's going to do damage on the way out, it's going to stay there, and then it's going to send out 2, 3, 4 different orbs back to you, and deal damage on return as well. So we'll read it here, and then it returns in pieces, dealing damage to enemies on the way back. The number of shards returning is dependent on the rank of this ability, so the more you rank it up, the more shards that return. And you have 2 charges of this ability, so I'm pretty sure you can Pyroclast, and then you'll have like 6 orbs coming back to you, which will be pretty intense. So the damage is 60 to 220 plus 60% of your physical power. Now that's the initial damage, and then the return damage for each one is only 20 plus 10% of your physical power. Has a range of 60, 14-second cooldown, and the mana cost is 40 to 60. Now I would assume that is per blast, so it's probably 80 to 120 if you want to use both of them. That would be my guess. Eruption, her second ability, is... which one is this? This is her AoE. This is another unique ability. Pretty cool. So she fires out this, like... and we'll just read it. Pele fiercely erupts energy into the ground, exploding in the area around her, causing damage to knock up all enemies. At ranks 3 and 5, the area explodes again at a delay and dealing less damage at a smaller knock-up. So basically what this says is she's going to like stomp on the ground, and it's going to cause this pulse and this rift in the ground, and it's going to deal damage to an enemy and knock them up. However, if you rank this up to level 2, it's not going to do much. If you rank it up to level 3, there's going to be an extra knock-up. So you're going to stomp the ground, it's going to pulse, knock up, delay, and it's going to send out another pulse and also knock up. And then once you get it to rank 5, so once you have Eruption maxed out, it's going to pulse, delay, pulse, delay, pulse. So it's going to send out 3 different pulses for 3 different knockups, each one dealing less damage. So the initial damage is scales from 100 to 260 with an 80% of your physical power, and then the other 2 are only going to be 80 to 240 plus 60% of your physical power. The knockup goes 280, 240, and 200, so it gets less and less each time you get out as well. Has 15, 25, and 35 radius respectively. The cooldown is 15 seconds though, so Pyroclast and Eruption have a pretty long cooldown. And then the mana cost ranges from 60 to 80. So her cooldowns seem pretty long here. Her 3 has no cooldown because it relies on a separate source of energy, and we'll get into that. So I'm trying to think of like how you would. I don't really see any like super fast kill burst potential. Just from reading the abilities in the short, brief lore video I watched, she looks amazing and she looks fun, but I don't see it. We'll have to get in game. I haven't even played a game, so I can't judge yet. But her third ability is called Magma Rush. Now this is super different in a sense that it's a movement speed ability. It also does some damage, but it doesn't consume any mana. So you have this separate energy source called Fuel, and this is the second part of your passive that I was talking about earlier. So you have your regular passive, which just gives you lifesteal and stuff, and then there's a second part, your passive bar. You have this little meter that shows how much fuel you have left. It's basically like a jetpack fuel almost, and if you have full fuel, you can toggle this Magma Rush as long as you want, and the more it's toggled, it's going to slowly go down until it's empty and you can't toggle it. So this is a toggling ability. Basically what it does is this little flame area comes around you and you gain movement speed, and anyone who comes into that area takes damage. So it's like a dot damage around you that also gives you movement speed. So we'll read it in detail because that is kind of confusing. So Pele starts to turn the land around her, dealing damage to nearby enemies and giving her constant movement speed while this ability is active. Toggle this again to enter an amplified state. I forgot there's two parts to it. So you got the normal one, hit it again for amplified, expending more fuel but dealing more damage and providing additional movement speed. It has no cooldown because it uses fuel gauge and can not be activated when below 10 fuel. So you activate it, you're moving around fast, you're going to get 30% movement speed, and each tick is going to do 20 to 40 damage plus 10% of your physical power every 5 seconds. You activate it again and you amplify it. The fuel cost goes from 5. Mana cost 10. So does this cost mana as well? I'm not sure how that works. So the amplified is going to cost more fuel. Maybe it means the fuel cost goes up to 10 once you amplify it. I'm not sure. That might be a bug there. So you amplify it, you go up to 60% movement speed, so that doubles, and the damage also doubles. It goes from 20 to 40, it's now 40 to 80, and 20% of your physical power instead of 10%. So basically amplifying it just doubles everything. Probably doubles the fuel cost, doubles the speed, and doubles the damage. So that's pretty cool. And then her ultimate is called Volcanic Lightning. After a short warm-up, she dashes forward, dealing massive damage and a slow to the first enemy got hit, and dealing additional damage to enemies behind in a cone for the next 10 seconds or 3 attacks. Every time Pele hits an enemy with a basic attack, additional damage is dealt behind the enemy as well. So there's kind of like 2 to 4 parts of this. Basically, she charges up and just dashes forward, and she hits somebody. It's going to deal a decent amount of damage to them and slow them. And then she gets 3 more attacks that are like a very large cone. Think of Susano, his Storm Kata, the first hit, but bigger. So she dashes forward, she gets that initial hit, and then she has these 3 big giant cone attacks that she gets to use. I guess it's just a high damage ult. I'm not quite sure. And then why lightning? I don't get why she's the goddess of volcanoes and all fire themed abilities, and all of a sudden there's this lightning ability. I don't know. So the damage is 200 to 520 plus 60% of your physical power. The extra damage, which I'm guessing is from the storm or from the cone attacks, would be 100 to 260 per hit plus 40%. Has a 60 range, slows for 30 seconds, lasts for 6 seconds, so it is a giant slow. Cooldown is 90 seconds and it costs 100 mana. Now I'm trying to think of like how you would play her. My guess would be more than likely you want to start the initiation with Magma Rush. I guess ulting in would be your best bet. Ult in, try to hit somebody, get the 3 strikes on, pop Eruption. So maybe have Magma Rush in, ult in, then hit Eruption, then Pyroclast, and then just use basics? I guess? I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm interested to jump into a game eventually and see what how she plays. Then we have a recolor called Caldera Pele. Can't really tell her hair color changes completely. It goes from like a fiery red to a white. And I'm guessing her gear probably changes as well. Skins coming to this patch, we have Primal Storm Susano. That didn't look like Susano at all. I thought that was like Thor or Bacchus or something.
All you need is a little courage and a big, big sword.
Really cool. Not like the most inventive skin or the most thought of, but it doesn't look like Susano at all, so I'm all game. This I saw and I was like, wait a second, don't they already have this skin? No, this is Molten Hubwa, and this is essentially that Ragnarok Hades skin in Hubwa form. So if you like that skin, you're probably gonna like this skin. I like it because it's a polar opposite of Hubwa. Hubwa is, was it like the god of the Nile River or something like that? He's water. So to make him a volcano now is pretty cool, full of magma. Mystic Guardian Neath. Now, I'm probably gonna get some hate on this. I'm pretty sure this is from like a TV show or an anime or something like that. I don't know because I don't watch it, but I'm like 70% sure it's from something. Mystic Guardian sounds familiar. This little logo looks familiar. I know it's from somewhere, I just don't know where. But to me, when I look at it, I see like kawaii anime-ish, and it's a put off instantly because I hate the kawaii skin. So we'll have to see whether I like the skin or not actually getting into a game.
Darkness and evil have no place in this realm.
Okay.
Leave now or face me and my friends.
So the voice pack has nothing to do with like that kawaii thing. So maybe it's not. Maybe it is from an anime and I'm just missing something. And then Pele also gets her mastery skins. We have some miscellaneous stuff coming as well. We have the Polynesian loading frame, the Polynesian music theme, Cutesy Pele avatar, and then the Primal Storm Fountain FX. These will probably be coming in the Polynesian chest, would be my guess. Oh, and this is the first Polynesian goddess. There we go. I just realized that. So they're busting out. We had the Slavic one with Chernobog really fast, and then we had the Voodoo one with Baron Samedi really fast, and now we have a Polynesian one really fast. We still haven't even filled out the Celtic gods either, so this is crazy. New announcer pack, we have the Primal Storm announcer pack. Pele gets a clap and a wave emote. Awesome chest gets some additions, and the fantasy point store is Beamy Chibi Ra, Busy Bee Cupid, and Scarlet Coven Isis. Those are actually 3 pretty good skins. Ranked Joust. Increase the second ban phase from 1 ban to 2 bans, so it increases the total bans from 3 to 4. Jungle Practice added a pad for players to add protections to Odin bots, which I have been wanting in Jungle Practice forever, because the Odin bots, if you didn't know, whether they're level 1 or it's the level 20, you can't really get a good estimate of how much damage you're doing, because you're essentially doing true damage to them because they don't have any items on, any protections. So giving them protections is going to actually give you a better guess of how much damage you're actually doing in the game at a certain time. So that's going to be really great. So you could max out your guy to level 20 or your girl, put a bunch of items on, and then give a bunch of protections to Odin to see how you would be hitting a level 20 Odin actually in late game. Arena decreased the minimum respawn time from 20 seconds to 10 seconds to make deaths less punishing in the early game. Triumphant chests have been relocated to the play screen for console. Prompt for report decreased the likelihood of being prompted for reporting due to frequent deaths. We have some bug fixes here, which I'm not going to go over. Well, this one seems important. Hold on. Fixed an issue where some percentage... Okay, never mind. If you want to read those, you can. They're just bug fixes, so I'm not going to go over them. Same with these. These are all fixes to the gods and the items. You can pause it. I don't usually go over them, but the item balances and the god balances, we definitely will. So Atlanta's bow getting some love here. And it basically gave you movement speed, more initial movement speed, and decreased some movement speed from the passive. So it added 10% flat movement speed, but decreased the max stacks from 4 to 3, and then the movement speed per stack from 7 to 5%. So kind of just balancing it out. Gladiator Shield getting some love. Hopefully it falls back into the meta because I loved this item last season. Added a component to this item where basic attacks will heal you for 0.5% of your maximum health and mana on successfully hitting an enemy, so not just abilities, and it updated the description to clarify these heals can trigger multiple times per ability or basic attack, scaling on number of targets hit. Fighter's Mask, Rangda's Mask, and Protector's Mask just updated the description text to show classes who can buy this item, so I guess it's class specific. Lono's Mask, kind of adding a new passive, I guess, or a new sacrifice stat to the passive, I should say. It does minus 20% healing done. I don't exactly remember what it was before. Achilles gets like a total, not a rework because his kit's the same, but changed, balanced a lot. So Gift of the Gods, his health bonus gets increased. It used to be 35, to 10 per level is now 25 to 10 per level. Health bonus increase. Wouldn't that be a decrease? Oh, I guess not, because it's going up per level. It's just the base is going down. So it goes from 235 to 325. Then protection bonus gained goes from 5 plus 1 per level to 5 plus 1.5 per level, going from 20 to 35. So right there is a buff to Achilles. Radiant Glory, physical power and protections now scale from, used to be 15%, is now down, oh, it goes from 10% to 20%. So overall late game it's a buff, but you have to take that that early game punishment. So levels 1 and 2 go down, level 3 is the same, and then 4s and 5 end up going up. So overall I'm seeing more of a buff towards Achilles, but it's kind of just balancing him out. But it works in his favor a little bit. Combat dodge, cooldown change from 12 seconds in all ranks. Now, see, so you have to wait for ranks 1 to 2, which is 14, 13. 12 goes back to the same, but then 11 and 10 is less. The damage gets a reduction, used to be 55 to 215, is now 50 to 210. So that is a nerf. So overall, I don't think Achilles really got nerfed. No, he definitely didn't get nerfed. If anything, I would lean towards he got a buff, but I think this is really just balancing him out, kind of tweaking some abilities to make him work different ways. These changes are cool. I might make videos on these because I didn't think they would be doing it to all of these all of these gods. For last patch, Cupid got his camera height adjusted, and now they're doing it with a couple other ones who are vertically challenged. Bakasura gets an increased camera height from 42 to 64. Scylla gets one from 36 to 64, and Vamana gets 36 to 64 as well. Freya, her Northern Lights decreased the magical power scaling, used to be 60%, is now 50%. Aurora Blade decreased the mana cost per shot, used to be 25 to 57, is now 20 to 40, so getting a nice little buff there. Kind of just balancing her out from her rework that she got. If you didn't know, basically she can now just toggle her pulses, which is now Aurora Blade. So kind of like Shivalanke with his branching bolas. Calder the Winter Wolf. Decreased time taken to regenerate 1 hit point from 10 seconds to 7 seconds, and then Piercing Cold gets a decreased cooldown by 1 second. The Morrigan's Dark Omen increased the minion bonus damage from 20 to 80, is now 40 to 160. Holy shit, what a buff. That's literally double at every ranked practically. No, it is double. Wow. Okay, so that's a huge buff for Morgan there. That's going to help her lane clear big time. Vulcan also getting some love. His Bagfire can now fire through walls. I'm not sure how much that'll help him because it's not like Bagfire is a long ability, but it could help from some situations, especially if you're in Joust and you're playing against an Emir. Inferno Cannon also now deals damage as if the target has... Wait, now Cannon deals damage as if the target had 25% less magical protections. Alright, so that's going to make him even more interesting for ranked duel. Jesus, I'm excited to see that. But that is it for this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, be sure to drop a like and hit subscribe for more content like this. I will link this in the description if you want to check it out yourself. That is it for this video, guys. Thank you for watching.